A rectal prolapse or anal prolapse is a really painful and embarrassing problem to live with. But fortunately, there's quite a number of things you can do at home to help fix your rectal prolapse and stop it worsening. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to guide you through how to fix your rectal prolapse at home and how to stop it worsening. So I've got a couple of props here I'm going to use for this, and this presentation is divided into two sections. So this is going to be our rectal prolapse, and this is the anus. So we're going to go through how to stop, the first part is to how to stop the rectal prolapse pushing down. So in other words, pushing out like that. So this is the first part of our section that we're going to be going through. And then the second part of the video is really important. It's going to be how to support from underneath. So there's two things you really need to know: how to stop the prolapse pushing down and how to then repair and improve support from underneath. So if you're living with a rectal prolapse, you'll probably already know that this involves tissues and tissues inside the rectum that actually start moving down out of the anus, and that's the rectal mucosa or the lining. Now, the walls of the rectum can actually start to move down and out of the anus as well. Usually, or hopefully, you can actually reduce it or push it back inside. So it's coming out and down, you should be able to push it back inside. If you can't do that, then that's a medical emergency and that needs surgical repair straight away. So without further ado, let's go on to our strategies first of all that are going to help you to stop the pressure pushing down. And there's 6 things you need to know to manage this well at home. Now, here are the things you need to know to stop the rectal prolapse pushing down. The first and golden rule, and probably one of the most important things I'm going to say to you today, is to never strain. Now, you can end up straining with constipation or with diarrhea, so both of those things apply. Now, to not strain, we need to do a number of things. We need to address our bowel, our stool consistency, and we need to address our technique. So I'm going to go through the correct technique for emptying your bowel. I'm just going to go through this fairly briefly because I do have a video that details this. It's called Moo to Poo and it's listed above, and you can refer to that video for details. But basically, when you're emptying, with the rectal prolapse, you're inclined to want to pull your tummy in and push down and strain. Now, when you do that, you close off the anal sphincter and make things worse. So to actually open up, you actually need to bulge your tummy. So you're not going to pull in and push down. You lean forward in this position, inward curve in your back. You take a number of deep breaths then to relax and open the anal sphincter. And then what you do is you bulge your tummy forward and you make your waist wide. So it's a ooh sound. And then you draw up and in through the anus at the end. And it's really important that you try to get that rectal prolapse back inside after you've finished your bowel movement. So you don't want it protruding. Try and get it back inside. Now, important things there. Go with the first urge to empty. Don't wait. Also, too, you might find it handy to use a wet one, so a wet one's wipe. So these are a really nice way of cleaning around the rectum after you've emptied. So what you do is you use the wet wipe. Make sure you check the ingredients on the back and make sure that the first ingredient is aqua or water and that they don't contain alcohol, because that can be really abrasive. So you can, with this type of a way of cleaning, it's much kinder than using your toilet paper, which can be quite abrasive to the tissues there. And you might find that you've got to keep wiping and you can't get clean. So using your last wipe as a wet wipe or using the wet wipes is a really nice, handy tip to keep yourself clean with this condition. Now, the second thing I'm going to go through is correcting your stool consistency. So it's really important to have the right stool consistency, which is a type 3 to 4 on this Bristol Stool chart here. So for the technique that I just showed you to work, for the bowel emptying technique to work, you need to have a soft, well-formed stool. If the stool's too hard, then you're going to be inclined to strain to empty. And if the stool's too soft, again, or with diarrhea, again, you might need to strain to empty. So we want to rectify that stool consistency. Now, once again, I do have a video up above on foods to soften your stool. So the foods that soften your stool are foods like vegetables. So we're talking about things like your spinach, your cruciferous vegetables like your greens, red peppers, fruits like apricots, grapes, and also too your multigrain. But if you're already constipated, don't fill yourself with fibre, because that's going to give you a much larger stool. What you need to do is, first of all, empty and then gradually increase your fibre. So our fibre intake is really important. We should be having, adult males and females, between 35 and 38 grams of fibre a day. And most of us only get to about 15 grams a day. So a really nice way to rectify this is through a product called psyllium, or you can have metamucil. I actually tend to like the psyllium husks themselves, or it's also called asphalga husk, hard to say. But basically, you can use these husks, mix it with a teaspoon, start with a teaspoon and mix it with some yogurt or on your cereal, or you can actually go to 2 teaspoons a day. Now, there is a warning with that. It can make you gassy, and I personally find that I can't tolerate the psyllium. It gives me a lot of gas. So the other way you can actually overcome that and soften the stool is through Osmolax, or the osmotic laxatives. And these are things like your Movicol here. You can also get Osmolax or Miralax in the US as well. So those products are readily available. When you take those, you need to, if you're having a teaspoon of psyllium, increase by a cup of water a day, because you also need the extra water to get everything through. All right, now we've gone through those things so far. We've talked about bowel emptying, we've talked about your stool consistency. Let's talk about heavy lifting and exercise. So heavy lifting will push that prolapse down. So I'll just get my little prolapse again. So if you can imagine the pressure from above, heavy lifting is going to push down and push that out. So things like lifting a lounge, bending and squatting deeply are things not to do. You're much better off to lunge. And it also doesn't mean that you need to stop your gym exercise. It means that you need to exercise safely, and that involves pelvic floor friendly exercises. And you can refer to my book above. I've got those exercises detailed, gym exercises that you can choose and gym exercises to avoid. You might also like to avoid high impact exercises. So exercises like running and jumping, where both feet are off the ground, are going to create a large amount of impact, and they're going to push that prolapse down and out. So remember, we're still talking about all these types of factors that will push everything out. Another thing I'd like to mention is abdominal fat. So this here, I think this is a really interesting visual. This is your fat. So this is 5 pounds or 2.5 kilos of fat. So you can imagine if you're carrying this on your abdomen and what that actually does to the prolapse. And so if you're carrying a lot of abdominal fat in particular, it's going to push that prolapse down. So something you can do that's really helpful with a rectal prolapse is to manage your body fat, in particular your abdominal fat. So it's not going to be so much your arm weight or, fat on your legs. It's much more the abdominal body fat. And once again, I've got a video on how to reduce abdominal body fat as well, and you might like to refer to that for more information. So we've gone through a number of things there, haven't we? Things that will actually stop putting the pressure down, a lot to do with bowel management, also to do with exercise, and also to do with you managing your body fat. Now let's go through the key things to improve support from below. And there's 3 main things that I want to go through. Now, the first thing is doing your Kegel exercises. So Kegel exercises are really important because they strengthen from below. So I've got a pelvis here that I can show you. And here is a female pelvis. And basically the muscles through and around the rectum are the same for the male and the female. And you can see how they encircle the anus there. And what they do is they hold everything up when you're standing upright. So this is one of your key ways of helping to fix and improve support through that area. Now, Kegel exercises for men and women are slightly different. Again, I'll put links below for you to refer to Kegel exercises for men and for women, and also to how many repetitions and exercises to do. But let's just go through that briefly now so that you know what you're doing. When you do your Kegel exercises, start by putting the prolapse back inside if you can. If that means to lubricate a finger, gloved hand, try to exercise and try to keep the prolapse in as much as you can. That's a really important point. Try to do your exercises with the prolapse in rather than out, because you don't want those tissues stretching. So when you start your Kegel exercises, you think about tightening, squeezing and lifting inside the anus. And you might like to try that now, as if you're stopping passing gas. And that's the action to stop through there. But we also need to strengthen the other muscles, these levator muscles in this platform here too, to hold everything up. If you're a woman, that means lifting and squeezing through the vagina. If you're a man, that means try to shorten or retract the penis. And then for both sexes, it involves stopping the flow of urine. So all three actions all together lift and support that area, and that's really vital for your prolapse management. Now, the final management strategy I want to go through is doing a Kegel exercise for when you have increased pressure downwards. So there's a way of counteracting that pressure, and it's a technique called the knack. So what I want you to do now is do a little tiny cough, and you probably feel a little bit of a downward movement. Now, if you lift and squeeze through the anus before and during that cough, try again now. So lift and squeeze, and again cough, and what you'll feel is much less downward movement. So every time before anything forceful, before a cough, a lift, a sneeze, and I mean a heavy lift, if you can pre-brace and hold that area up, you'll find that your rectal prolapse will be supported and you'll stop that worsening. So we've gone through a lot of things there, haven't we? We've talked about how to stop the forces downwards on the prolapse. We talked about the importance of bowel management and diet. We also talked about the importance of general exercise. And then we went through and talked about the importance of Kegel exercises, keeping the prolapse internal as much as possible, and also to protecting and activating those muscles when you need to. So I really hope this information helps you to manage your rectal prolapse better at home. As always, I really welcome your comments below in the section below. And if this video helps you, please give it a like below, because then YouTube will recommend it to other viewers. Thanks so much for watching today. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.